Hello everyone. Today our programme is about the Vientiane Days that took place in Moscow at the end of February. We're going to tell you all about friendship and cooperation between the capitals of Russia and the Laos People's Democratic Republic. This is Moscow Mosaic. I'm Mike Gibson. Stay tuned. Strengthening relations between Russia and Laos, as well as developing a cultural and business partnership, the results of the Days of Vientiane in Moscow.
Our colleagues were interested in literally everything: the modernization of transport infrastructure, the development of our social sphere, healthcare and education. They are very interested in our digital products that we are actively using in city management, including the use of artificial intelligence.
The signing of a partnership agreement between Moscow and Vientiane for 2025 to 2028 is the basis for developing business ties, as well as contacts in the field of education and culture. The Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry hosted a forum on the development of business cooperation between Moscow and Vientiane.
I am confident that both this forum and the participation of top officials from the Laos province will be instrumental in the resolution of many issues that are in entrepreneurs' best interests, and therefore in our city's best interests, and in turn our country's best interests.
The cultural programme of the Vientiane Days in Moscow unfolded with fiery dances to Lao rhythms and an introduction to the sights of the Russian capital.
Before this visit, I knew Russia mainly from music, movies, and from friends and acquaintances who had been to your country. I have to say, the memories of my first visit to Moscow will always remain in my heart.
The Laos People's Democratic Republic is a country in Southeast Asia located on the Indochine Peninsula. The closest neighbours of Laos are Thailand, Vietnam, the Kingdom of Cambodia, Myanmar and China. Albeit the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia, this does not prevent it from holding a reputation as one of the region's tourist gems. Picturesque waterfalls and caves, majestic rivers, ancient temples and impenetrable jungles, modern megacities and historic towns. All of this is Laos. It is a country with a unique and diverse culture that has preserved its traditions and customs for centuries. The capital of the Laos People's Democratic Republic is Vientiane. In 2025, Russia and the Laos People's Democratic Republic will celebrate the 65th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. For more than half a century, the two countries have maintained strong and friendly ties in all areas, from politics to education.
If we consider the years when the former Soviet Union existed, the Soviet government welcomed our Laos students. Over 8,000 students from Laos studied at higher educational institutions of the former Soviet Union at that time. I am proud to say that many of them now hold high positions among the leadership of our country. For example, our president of Laos, Mr. Thongloun Sisalith, is also a graduate of the Soviet Union. Yes, additionally, most of the country's leaders are fluent in the Russian language.
Today, cooperation between the two countries continues to develop actively. Bilateral contacts are maintained at the highest level. A notable example of this was the meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and the President of the Laos People's Democratic Republic, Thongloun Sisalith. The meeting took place as part of the 16th BRICS Summit, held in October 2024 in Kazan.
Our relations are mutually beneficial and have reached the level of strategic partnership. We approach most international problems from similar points of view. It's very important that the Laos chairmanship of the ASEAN Association promotes cooperation between the organization and Russia, and we are very grateful to you for this.
In 2024, with the aim of strengthening and expanding friendly relations, as well as cultural and business exchange between Laos and the Russian capital. A delegation from the Moscow government, led by Vyacheslav Manulov, deputy head of the Department for External, Economic and International Relations of the city, visited the capital of the Lao People's Democratic Republic, Vientiane.
Last year, we established active contacts with the capital of Laos, and a delegation from Vientiane took part in the Moscow International Municipal Forum. At that time, we not only held official talks with the capital's governor, but also discussed all our future plans and the strategy for Moscow's development until the year 2030. Our colleagues were interested in literally everything: the modernization of transport infrastructure, the development of our social sphere, healthcare, and education. They are very interested in our digital products that we are actively using in city management, including the use of artificial intelligence. And as a result of our International Municipal Forum, we ultimately agreed to hold the Moscow Days in Vientiane. And I am happy to say they were successfully held last October. I should note that we received such a warm welcome. We were amazed at the hospitality and openness of the Lao capital. It truly was a beautiful occasion. At that time, of course, we received official representatives from the city of Moscow. And so they attended an important trade and business forum between the two capitals. I'm happy to say that all representatives of the two capitals actively participated in this forum, including the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Russian Federation to Laos, Mr. Vladimir Kalinin, who is now also serving as Ambassador of the Russian Federation to Laos. Without a doubt, I can say that this event plays an important role in further developing and strengthening bilateral relations and cooperation between our two countries.
During the business trip, representatives of the official delegations of both capitals agreed to hold reciprocal Vientiane Days in Moscow. In February 2025, guests from the Lao People's Democratic Republic arrived in the Russian capital. The visit was organized by the Department for External, Economic and International Relations of Moscow, the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Vientiane administration, and the non-profit organization Moscow Center for International Cooperation. The business program of the Lao delegation's visit commenced with a trip to the Moscow government. An official meeting took place at the Moscow City Hall between the governor of Vientiane, Atsapaton Sifadon, and the chairman of the Moscow City Duma, Alexei Shapishnikov. During the negotiations, the parties discussed issues of municipal governance, socio-economic development, and the expansion of business contacts between the two cities. Chairman of the Moscow City Duma, Alexei Shapishnikov, noted that Moscow City Duma deputies had met previously on several occasions with their colleagues from the Parliament of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. Today's meeting with the leadership of Vientiane marks the beginning of a new phase of cooperation between the two capitals.
Allow me to express, on behalf of the leadership of the Vientiane City administration, our joy at having come to the Russian capital on the occasion of the Days of Vientiane in Moscow. Of course, your city has made a great impression on me.
During the visit to the Moscow government, a ceremonial signing of the cooperation program for 2025-2028 took place, which formalized the long-term partnership between Moscow and Vientiane in the areas of urban planning, trade, culture, IT technologies and ecology. The document was signed on Russia's behalf by Sergei Chiromin, Minister of the Government of Moscow and head of the Department for External, Economic and International Relations of the city.
The ceremony shall now begin for signing the cooperation program between the Moscow government, the Russian Federation, and the Vientiane City Administration, the Lao People's Democratic Republic, for 2025 to 2028. Today, we signed an important document that formalizes cooperation in 7 different areas, such as delegation exchanges, cultural exchange between the 2 capitals, innovative activities, and the development of our cities. Without a doubt, we are confident that the signing of this important document will allow us to strengthen our cooperation so that both capitals can work together for the benefit of our 2 peoples.
After the signing of the agreement, the delegations exchanged commemorative souvenirs. The business program of the Vientiane Days in Moscow was continued by a forum dedicated to the cooperation between the 2 capitals in the fields of tourism, IT, energy, agriculture, and trade. The meeting, in an expanded format with the participation of representatives from the government and business community of Laos, was held for the first time at the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Intergovernmental cooperation has always been successful between our states, but the fact that this is happening in the Chamber of Commerce shows that market relations are enabling us to establish closer relations in the economy. On a business level, I am confident that both this forum and the participation of top officials from the Lao province will be instrumental in the resolution of many issues that are in entrepreneurs' best interests, and therefore in our city's best interests, and in turn our country's best interests.
The event was held with the support of the Moscow government. The Lao attendees at the forum consisted of the Vientiane government, Vientiane Special Economic Zone, the Lao-Russian Association for Socio-Economic Development, and entrepreneurs representing various business sectors such as tourism, agriculture, food industry, healthcare, hydropower, and more.
In our delegation, there is a large group of Lao entrepreneurs and business people. Today, they were all able to share their experiences and express their views on the cooperation between our 2 countries. And, of course, we would like to continue expanding our discussions on any issues related to the development of our mutually beneficial interests in the future.
The president of the Lao-Russian Association, Pani Hoang-Pachan, also highlighted the important role of the forum in developing business contacts in the industrial, investment and financial sectors, as well as in trade and humanitarian areas.
The result that the association expects in the near future is the real start of trade with our Russian partners, and this would be the greatest symbol of our success.
Sergei Chiroman, Minister of the Government of Moscow and head of the Department for External Economic and International Relations of the city, delivered a presentation titled Smart and Sustainable Moscow at the forum, in which he shared with the Lao guests the key achievements of the capital in recent years. Today, Moscow is a leader in sustainable development. The city is listed among the top 25 most attractive global cities for investment. Sergei Chiroman noted that since 2011, the capital has doubled its revenue budget.
The Moscow city government employs a wide range of measures to develop various industries. These include the provision of tax benefits, as well as subsidies, and on top of that, various support measures for small and medium-sized businesses.
Next, the forum guests witnessed a presentation on the development and attraction of foreign investments, trade and tourism in Vientiane, delivered by the Director General of the Department of Planning and Investment, Vientiane Suklaseng. She emphasized that, due to its geographical location, Vientiane has great potential in areas such as agriculture, light industry and tourism. In addition, the province is home to 5 special economic zones with favorable conditions for investment. However, at present, Russia ranks only 15th among foreign investors. The speaker outlined the investment conditions in the Lao economy and invited participants to collaborate.
Moscow is primarily of interest to us in terms of city management technologies, urban infrastructure development, and learning from the experience of developing the business environment. We are also interested in expanding interbank cooperation. It truly seems to me that this collaboration could be beneficial for both Russia and Laos banks, and of course, agriculture.
Laos can be a second offshore destination for the Russian company. So with the payments system that I have in place, and because of the locations of Laos in ASEAN and also next to China. So with the Russian company operate in Laos, definitely it would be a second best options for the offshore for the Russian company in Laos.
At the forum, Russian companies also presented their projects in the field of information technology development.
We are one of the leading developers in the Russian market. We deal with unified communications, and we wanted to present our solutions at this forum. We realized that in international markets, our products are being met with rather keen and serious interest, because we are making a platform that could replace the import substitution plan not only in Russia, but also globally, therefore dethroning world leaders such as Zoom, Microsoft, Cisco, and other well-known top vendors. Which is why I hope that our colleagues present here today will hear and understand our concern and invite us for demonstration, for implementations, for some projects. It was a great pleasure, and I am very grateful for the event. The audience was unexpectedly lively, very thoughtful and full of energy. I just finished my presentation and people came up to me asking if I could send them the presentation, the information that I discussed.
At the forum, it was possible to get acquainted with the products of Lao enterprises. Brandon,
yes.
Hi. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Tell us about some of the products that you brought with you here and where you grow them and produce them.
Yeah, so my products is basically more coffee and dry fruit chip. So we are at the factory in Laos. We are the most modernized factory in Southeast Asia. We can produce roasted bean, instant coffee, which is freeze-dry, spray-dry, and 3-in-1. So we have our own coffee plantation. So we're taking care from the beginning until the end process.
And you have your own plantation. And whereabouts is that in the country?
We are Laos, but our plantation and also the factory based in south of Laos, we call Champasak province.
Right.
Yes, and where we have a really good plant that suitable for grow coffee. Yes, so we are the high level of the sea is 1,250 above the sea level. Yes.
Kang Thong Nanthavong Duangsi brought famous Lao textiles to Moscow over 30 years ago. Together with her mother and sisters, she founded a company that today produces unique fabrics.
Lao textile is a part of our culture. We generate from mother to daughter. We study from very little.
Right.
Like children play on weaving like a toy. And weaving is a dignity of Lao women.
As part of the forum, 2 memoranda were signed. A memorandum of understanding between the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Vientiane and the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry Union. A memorandum between the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Lao-Russian Association for Socio-Economic Development. At the end of the event, entrepreneurs from both countries were able to engage in live discussions and exchange contacts for further collaboration. The cultural part of the program of the Lao delegation's visit continued here at Vientiane, the famous exhibition of the achievements of the national economy. And now we've arrived at the pavilion of the maquette of Moscow. Here guests can see the capital of Russia in miniature. At the exhibition, covering an area of 429 square meters, approximately 23,000 city landmarks are showcased. The model features the Garden Ring and Boulevard Ring, 6 Stalin skyscrapers and 7 train stations, as well as other famous Moscow buildings, churches, stadiums, and much more.
This is an exact replica of the city scaled down 400 times. The terrain, road markings, all the buildings, even the transformer booths, everything matches. We can compare it with the map, with our own personal routes. Everything here is identical to what is present in the real city.
With the help of this special interactive screen, I can control the life of the big city. For example, change day into night. Every 30 minutes, a light show takes place in the pavilion. After watching it, the Lao guests continued their tour of Vientiane.
Beautiful!
We've now arrived at the first pavilion of Vientiane. It's here that they house a branch of the Tretyakov Gallery. Let's take a look. For this exhibition, the most famous paintings and sculptures by leading masters of the 1930s to 1950s were selected from the halls of the Tretyakov Gallery, as well as works by contemporary artists. As such, the dates of creation of these works coincide with the time of construction and operation of the pavilion where the exhibition is located.
Vientiane for me is a place that has captured my heart and the hearts of all my family members. 2 years ago, I was here with my wife and children, and they all told me that this place was simply made for them. It truly is wonderful. Why? Because here, ultimately, they were able to learn not just about the achievements of Vientiane, but also about all of the successes that existed during the Soviet era and in the period of the Russian Federation. And so, ultimately, I think that for us, the citizens of Laos, this place can also be considered an almost sacred place. Vientiane evokes a sense of pride. It showcases the achievements of humanity, and it's clear that many people have contributed to this place. An enormous number of people have been involved in creating such a wonderful exhibition. So the first words that come to my mind when I think of Moscow and Russia are strength, power, incredible beauty, order, and I would say cleanliness.
The cultural program of the Vientiane delegation's visit to Moscow ended with a concert. The artists of the Lao folk dance ensemble, the pianist Vientiane Chamber Orchestra, performed at one of Moscow's venues. The performance by Lao artists gave the audience a chance to get acquainted with the traditional music, dances and cultural traditions of Laos. The graceful movements of the dancers, vibrant national costumes, and the unique sound of the instruments created an atmosphere of authentic national flair. At the end of the festive evening, all the guests were invited on stage to perform a traditional Lao dance together.
I believe
this visit will serve as the foundation for strong cooperation between our two capitals. I am delighted that during the governor of Vientiane's stay in Moscow, a cooperation program was successfully signed. We had a brilliant, vibrant, and unforgettable concert by the Lao Masters of Arts. That truly is what I think. The dances were especially lively, and the stunning songs performed by excellent soloists were truly remarkable. And I have to say, I believe we will continue the tradition of holding such events in the capitals of our two countries.
The The days of Vientiane in Moscow have come to an end, but cooperation between Russia and Laos will continue. And we'll definitely tell you all about it in our future programs. You've been watching Moscow Mosaic. I'm Mike Gibson. See you next time. Bye.